Yer. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know who it is. It's your boy Pharaoh the God, always on the job. The man behind the voice that keep your bitch moist. Welcome to another episode of I Got Five Let's Talk, where we keep it fair like a California bear. And we don't do no hating, because we ain't California raisins. Again, welcome to another episode. And tonight is quite political, man. You know, we ain't doing what we used to. You know, all the banter. Tonight, we got a couple of things that we want to talk about. Precisely dealing with America. You know, for those that don't know, America's going through a change right now. The world is turning. And a lot of people don't see it as so. And that's why tonight this show means something. Because, see, I'm a Trump supporter. I support Trump. I voted for Trump. But I also recognize the flaws. I recognize the weaknesses. I recognize the fall off. Ain't nobody perfect. But America is losing its leverage. And it's not a leverage of diplomatic diplomacy. It's losing its leverage of bad threats. They're losing their leverage to bad threats. Not only are they making bad threats, the bad threats can't even be considered bad no more, because what does America have to ban them with? And tonight, that's what we gonna get into, man. Tonight, we gonna get into America losing its leverage behind bad threats, or two bad threats. And the first one I wanna play tonight is about the oil situation that's going on in America. A lot of people know that America is bent on war. I mean, not bent on war, but it's bent on oil, man. For years, for decades, we have been burning oil. In this, like the whole global warming, people say, oh, that's because we burning oil, because we using oil, we using crude oil, this, and that. America has been the number one buyer of this oil. From Saudi Arabia, Russia, Colombia, anywhere they could get it, get their hands on it. So a lot of this is one thing that went over a lot of people's heads that's been going on. And we gonna dive into it. I dived into it the other day, but just to give you a more clear understanding of what's going on, Saudi Arabia is a partner to America. To America, right? But let's just see what they did. And what they did this strengthen America, or did it weaken America? Let's run this content. Because America is in a very peculiar peculiar situation right now, position. You know, gold, Africa, oil, Zimbabwe. I mean, name it. But let's run this content right here, though, man.
The man who is effectively rewriting the map of the Middle East reportedly gave the green light for a move that Washington has feared for decades. He instructed Aramco, the world's most valuable oil company, to begin accepting Chinese yuan, euros, and even Bitcoin for oil settlements starting next month. This isn't just a change in banking protocols. This is the financial equivalent of a nuclear detonation. We are talking about the end of the system that has kept the US dollar as the world's reserve currency since the 1970s. But here's what's really jaw-dropping. While the mainstream media is distracted by celebrity gossip and political circuses, the smart money is already moving. They see the writing on the wall, the artificial demand that forced every nation on earth to hoard US dollars just to keep their lights on. It's gone, vaporized. And trust me,
What you got to realize here is America forced people for the longest to deal with and trade with them in order to make their dollar or their money a big priority on the international scale. This is why Africa is or was in the situation it was. The same reason why Mexico is the way it is. The European culture and the American culture has set a standard to where these countries, whatever they grow, they cannot sell within their own country. They have to export it to other countries, right? Before they get anything. But the countries that's buying it is buying it for pennies on the dollar. So that means America is getting over. For all these years, this has been happening. For all these years, decades. And now, America is scrambling to hold on to the little leverage that it got. Motherfuckers need to wake up and see it's a bigger picture that's going on right now. America is losing its leverage to bad threats. They threaten Venezuela or anybody that messes with Venezuela 100% tariffs on anything that they get. This don't put America in a better position. This put China in a better position. But let's finish running this content and see what the good old friend Arabia has to say.
I'm about to reveal about the consequences of this shift will make your blood run cold. Let me fill you in on the history here because you have to understand the past to see the disaster that is barreling toward us. Back in 1974, the United States was in a bad spot. We had just gone off the gold standard. The dollar was backed by nothing but faith and credit. And honestly, faith was running low. Inflation was skyrocketing, the stock market was a mess, and the American economy looked like it was circling the drain. So Henry Kissinger, the ultimate deal maker, flew to Riyadh. He sat down with the House of Saud and made them an offer they couldn't refuse. The deal was simple but brilliant.
He sat down, not with the government of Saudi Arabia. He sat down with the House of Saud, the Saud family. That's who he sat down with. It's another closed deal.
The United States would provide Saudi Arabia with absolute military protection. We would sell them our best weapons, guarantee their security against Israel and Iran, and ensure the House of Saud stayed on the throne forever. In exchange, the Saudis had to do just one thing: price their oil exclusively in US dollars. Not gold, not pounds, not rials, only dollars. And because Saudi Arabia was the kingpin of OPEC, everyone else followed suit.
Forcing people in nations around the world that's gonna buy this oil from Saudi Arabia. America forced Saudi Arabia to sell their oil in dollars. Now you might say, oh, well, that's just a good business deal. But what about countries that don't trade in US dollars? That don't have dollars in their country? America forced them to open up trade and to trade with America in order to get these American dollars. Now, if America didn't like what you was doing, America wouldn't trade with you. Therefore, in return, you get no American dollars. Therefore, you cannot buy oil from Saudi Arabia. America put a block on buying oil from those that didn't get in line to what they were selling. So let's see how that's turning out.
If you wanted to buy oil anywhere in the world, you had to get your hands on US dollars first. This created the petrodollar. It meant that Japan, Germany, France, China, everyone had to sell us their cars and electronics to earn dollars, just so they could turn around and buy energy. It created a permanent, artificial demand for our currency. It allowed the US government to print trillions of dollars without causing hyperinflation, because we could just export.
And this is another game. You print your own money, but you in debt to yourself? How does that work?
Those dollars to the rest of the world. They held the paper, we got the cheap goods. It was the greatest economic hack in human history. But on June 9th, that 50-year contract expired, and the Biden administration, whether through incompetence or arrogance, failed to renew it. Or perhaps Saudi Arabia simply refused. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS as he's known, has been signaling this pivot for years. He has watched the U.S. weaponize the dollar against Russia. He has watched the U.S. debt spiral out of control to $34 trillion. And he has decided that the American security umbrella is full of holes.
$5 a day, invested for 1 year, and you could have.
Why would you want to deal with a country that's unstable? Why would you want to deal? Hold on, y'all know what it is. We in LA. See, when America made this deal, and when America made deals with other countries, the deal that they made was an outstanding, outlasting, long deal. But what America promised in return, they never gave. Mind you, this is decades. A half of a millennium. For over 50 years, this is what America been doing. Now you have superpower China that was, America got the goods, so we ain't gonna mess with China. But what happened? China ends up becoming a real superpower. They money on the global stand means something. Russian money on a global stand means something. So maybe now it's time to rewrite how we accept money and payment for this oil. And who does that hurt? That hurts America. Because now people don't gotta trade with just America in order to buy oil.
To a sinking ship. So here we are. The monopoly is broken. Reports are flooding in from financial insiders that the infrastructure for a new payment system is already live. We're hearing about Project M-Bridge, a digital currency platform developed by the Bank for International Settlements that includes China, the UAE, and now, potentially, Saudi Arabia. This system allows them to trade oil for yuan instantly, bypassing the U.S. banking system entirely. It bypasses STU-FT. It bypasses New York. It bypasses the watchful eye of the American sanctions regime. And let's look at the timing. This is happening right as the U.S. is trying to contain inflation at home. The Federal Reserve has been hiking interest rates, trying to suck money out of the economy. But now, the Saudi move threatens to open the floodgates. If nations don't need dollars to buy oil, they don't need to hold U.S. Treasury bonds. If they don't need Treasury bonds, they will sell them. And when they sell them, trillions of dollars come flooding back home to the United States. Think about the implications of Bitcoin being on the table. This is the wild card that nobody in the Treasury... We have to talk about the geopolitical earthquake that this represents.
That's Saudi Arabia. Now with Venezuela, America, Trump, whoever is in Trump ear, they messed up with that. Threatening Venezuela with 100, or those that trade with Venezuela, threatening 100% tariffs on their goods. They don't have to buy your goods. They don't have to sell you nothing to get your money no more. The American dollar has been contested. Its value has been contested in the world market, and it's failing. And it's failing drastically. Because like I said, if Saudi Arabia, who is a friend of the United States, who has allowed numerous American bases in Saudi Arabia, now has said, nah, we not going to renew that deal that we just going to sell oil in US dollars. We not just going to do that. And which is a smart move, because you got to think about it. If you got these Chinese people being billionaires, how long is American money going to be valued and sought after? There's other nations waking up. And these are little nations. These aren't nations that are big in stature, as in political power. But they're big because they have something the world wants. Not just America. See, this is where America fucks up at. America thinks that just because people want things from America, like other countries can't make them. So now enters China, who's already been a major player on the global structure, right? Now China comes in and says, hey, we're going to start doing things and give things that other people can't. Now, mind you, China ain't really too different from America. I could say that for about what's going on in Africa. The Chinese were supposed to be building roads, ain't did that. The Chinese was getting kicked out. Fire started in Ghana's historical West Africa historical open market, burned down to the ground. Next day, you have Chinese people buying up plots of land. They wasn't going for that. I can't say China is doing all the great things, but the way America is threatening the rest of the world, like it still holds sway, influence, and prestige in the world, is a bad thing. You can't go around threatening people about dealing with Venezuela when you're not even renewing your deal with Saudi Arabia. How can you threaten somebody that has the most oil in the world when you're not even renewing or being allowed to renew your oil deal with Saudi Arabia? How does that work out? Again, I voted for Trump, but this is like I say, I got a right and a left. I gotta point it out. Whoever in Trump's ear is making a bad deal. Is sending these weak ass threats to people. Why? Now Mohammed bin Salman or Mohammed bin Saud of Saudi Arabia, they didn't tell us this, but now it's getting out there. Just a couple of months ago said, nah, America, I'm not gonna give you that exclusive right no more. Then you have what's going on in Africa. The Sahel region, another thing that they haven't been putting on the news that directly deals with black people. These people are kicking out the French, another colony, colonist country that was worse than America over there, or just as bad. Whoever you talking to, or whoever you asking. These things ain't been getting put on the news for a reason. And these countries are doing good without American aid. Remember, these are the same countries that was supposed to be receiving American aid, but they never elevated to become a player on a global or just national stage. Now these countries and these continents and these people is waking up and they saying, well, you know what? Shit, we dealt with America, why not go deal with China? And America still threatening us? And then what also gets me is that Trump, you know Venezuela owes China $60 billion in debt. So they have to trade with them. They have to, that is a business deal that cannot be stopped by nobody. That's an international law. One country is in debt to another. They have to make deals in order to get out of that debt. And then deals don't come with, we get everything until we get that $60 billion back. No, the country still got to eat. It might be 80-20 one way in their favor. It may be 60-40 in the other guy's favor. Who knows? But that $60 bill, that $60 billion debt deal that's on the table by America, by Trump talking about these tariffs on Venezuela, just opened up the floodgates. Another country that everybody in the world knows has bigger gold and bigger oil than Saudi Arabia, and you just made them an enemy. How smart is this? What political game is this? I see it as somebody is, or some people, or some type of organization is putting America in a position to fail globally right now. Even though these deals are bad, you just ask yourself, who doesn't renew a deal with Saudi Arabia for the oil? Why would you piss off Venezuela and say Venezuela or anybody that trades with Venezuela is going to get 100% tariffs on the goods when Venezuela holds more oil than Saudi Arabia? Why would you do that? That is putting America, who loves oil, that has to keep up with the Joneses. Now, America made everybody keep up with the Joneses. Now what America got to do? America got to keep up with itself. 50 Cent said, if you don't got nothing to give but your image, you gonna do some whole shit. That's all America gave for over 50 years to people, was their image. And now look at America. They doing some whole shit. This is what happens when you don't pick the right senators. You have two major continents that to some degree has just turned their back on the West and Europe. Then you have another country which should be a global power because they hold on more oil than Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to stop saying it. How come Venezuela is not a major player across the board internationally, globally? They hold more oil than anybody. But whoever has set Trump down this line, it's only damaging us as Americans. I believe Trump is a businessman. This business deal right here, it sounds kind of fishy. It sounds real fishy. Let me know what y'all think, man. Get in them comments, man. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines for y'all, man. If y'all want to go ahead, call in. Go ahead, call in if y'all want to, if anybody want to call, go ahead, call in. Like my boy. America is setting its own self up. This ain't the real dealings of a businessman. You hurting yourself. You hurting your country. And that's my thing to Trump. These phony ass threats that it's time is up. Time is up for America. To me, I look at these deals as a setup. not renewing a contract that you had with somebody over 50 years that benefits America is beyond me. Pissing off Venezuela, a country that holds more oil than Saudi Arabia and Iran and Russia, is beyond me. That very much hurts America. This is where people, American citizens, gotta wake up and say the business dealings of the American government are trash. They trash. Ain't no way in hell. And then look what he do in Africa. Ibrahim Traore. Oh, they're misusing the gold. We need to go over there. You know, they're the most terrorist country in the world. Instead of painting people bad, instead of doing what America says it does, it continues to paint people in bad light. It could, like I said, it could go to war with Africa. It painted the picture of the African people of what the African people are. They say monkeys, backwards people, all this, all that. They could go over there and do all of that. Afghanistan. But they can't do it to Venezuela. Venezuela is in the Western Hemisphere where everybody is supposed to be liberal and educated. And we're supposed to have morals and conducts. But they trade those bad behaviors in for tariffs. This doesn't hurt nobody. Like, China is a bigger broad now. America being the bully, it's over. It's a wrap. These are the reasons why, like, shit like this that's not being on the news, this is, like, no reason not to put it on the news. But we live in America. Some say America's been hijacked. The way that these deals are playing out now, it seems like whoever is orchestrating these deals is designing these deals for America to fail. If France gets kicked out of Africa, America has the money to go over there and build roads and all that. Why not just do right by the people you're supposed to do right by? America just can't do it. This is where I can't say somebody said, I got you, I told you so moment. Because to some degree, countries have been eating off of America for so damn long. But what Trump fails to realize is that while they've been eating off of America, they have been investing into their country, while Americans have been investing into their own pockets. Big difference. Big difference. And that's why America mad now. That's why America is scrambling, trying to hold on to the little influence and prestige it holds and the sway it holds over the world on a global stage now. It's scrambling to hold on to that little influence because everybody sees now it ain't just America that got money and can make shit happen. We listened to America for so long. China is the boogeyman. Muslims, the religion of Islam, is terrorists and is the boogeyman. Africa is dirty and backwards and they can't do nothing for their own people. Afghanistan is, and everything that they say, we find out it's a lie. We find out it's a lie. How do you change that? It's hard to change. And it's really not going to change because the people that's in power don't give a fuck about America. Now that you look back in retrospect, like China, you just look at America and China over the last 50 years. America used China as the warehouse for the world. And like the Chinese say, we charge America $1 to do this shit. They go bring that shit back to your country and charge you 100. We invested that $1 back into our country. Why Americans and the American people, government, took that money and invested it back into their own pockets. You can't be mad at these countries that want to do for themselves. You have done nothing for these countries for nearly a century. And now you want these people to be on your side? It's just not going to happen. But let me know how y'all feel, man. Hit that comment button, though, man. Hit that like button. And you could call in, man. Hit that call, 323-366-1844. Let it go, man. I got 5. Let's talk, man. Got the call-in session going on tonight, man. America is losing its influence to bad threats. And again, this is just my assessment. This is how I look at it. And while we're talking about oil, Venezuela Iran just tried to, maneuver through these waters with a tanker of oil. America is desperate. They gotta rob shit. That's how desperate America is. America is putting itself in a position, they're putting America in a bad position right now. Trump needs to stop listening to whoever the fuck he's listening to. Because that shit is not going to work out good or in favor of the American population, bro. It's not. And instead of people being angry at us, they just going to be like, you know what? Fuck it. We ain't fucking with them. Let them starve. I remember seeing a meme on Instagram. It wasn't a meme, but it was a video. And it was an African lady. And she was like, eat all of your food, children. There are hungry people in America that are starving. And I found this so funny because people laughed at and said they were starving children in Africa, but now look what's going on here in America. And not even just on the government scale. On the individual scale, we have looked at other people with disgraceful eyes. For real, for real. We look down on other people from other countries. So if we did that, what you think the government was doing? We went with the bullshit that America was selling too. You can't be mad at these people and go with the bullshit that America is putting out there now about these countries and all this. America had its time. America had its time to shine, to do right by these countries. And now It's losing its grip. Nobody wants to trade in the American dollar. So if people don't want to trade in the American dollar, that takes power off the board for America. Like, you look at these other countries and look what they accomplished in 50 years, and you look at America and look what America accomplished in 50 years. It's these people time to shine. Everybody gets a turn, sir. Everybody gets a turn. And it's all the people that America, especially in the Middle East, done fucked over, that's coming up to power now. And what you think they gonna do? Be ready for it, y'all. It's coming.